everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Mari here, and I have not done a scrapbooking layout on YouTube forever, and so today I wanted to create a project using the gorgeous Studio Light Janine's Mindful Art collection. This collection is called Inner Peace. I forgot for a second, but it's called Inner Peace, and this is a gorgeous stencil from the collection. I'm taking a little bit of modeling paste and going through that stencil onto my Vicki Boutin Foundations paper, and I'm just going to work on the background for my project. So I'm going to be creating a 12 by 12 scrapbooking project today, and I am going to be working with a photo of my sweet little grandson and his 7-month photo. So that is what this project is going to be today. I have been definitely super busy, and a lot of my work lately has definitely gone on to Patreon. If you're interested in becoming a patron, I always link up to Patreon in the description box below. The first tier, which has a ton of videos on it every month, is, well, and by a ton, I mean there are, I don't know, roughly probably about 3 hours of content right around there each month, and for tier 1, and that is $3 US or $4 Canadian. So if you're interested in that, that's where I spend most of my video creation time these days. But I do try to like to get onto YouTube as well and create some content here. Now I am going to add some color to this modeling paste, which is now dry. And I'm going to add the modeling paste with some Lindy's Stamp Gang Magicals. And the collection that I'm working with, or the set I'm working with, is called Totally 80s, I believe. And this color, and I'm just going to grab it, is called Bodacious Blush. And I wanted to swatch it out. And when I did, I came to realize that it wasn't quite the right color. I wanted to do a little bit of color mixing, and so I'm going to mix the Pretty in Pink and the Midnight Rendezvous on my little paint tray there, and I'm just going to mix them together until I get a color that I like. So the color that actually ends up being the best is when I mix Pretty in Pink and Midnight Rendezvous together, and it just creates this really gorgeous, rich kind of purple color, which is beautiful. So it really actually matches up nicely with the Inner Peace collection. And this Studio Light collection, friends, is just amazing. There's a ton of pieces to it. I did do a haul video earlier, I think it was last week, and showed all of the different pieces to the Inner Peace collection. And I will be sure to link up to this collection in the description box below. It is just such a stunning collection from Janine, and I really love it so much. Now, what I was going for here was to create sort of like half of a circle, sort of like a C shape with my pigment. And then my idea was to put the majority of my embellishments on that C shape to create sort of like the home for the photo and the embellishments. So you can just see here, I just continue to mix up that color in the center of the palette, mixing that really beautiful deep midnight blue with the pink. And it just creates the most gorgeous kind of mulberry color, which is perfect for this collection. So I laid down that first amount of color with my paintbrush, and I did wet my page first. So you probably saw me do that. I put a little bit of water on that texture paste, not too much because I did not gesso my paper. And so I don't want to use too much water, just enough to activate the pigment and move things around a little bit. And you can always dab up any excess water with some paper towel. And now I'm just doing a little bit of splattering. I wasn't 100% happy with the size of splatters I was getting with this paintbrush, so I do switch to a smaller brush here eventually. But I am going to try to do a bunch of splattering around that C shape just to create a little bit of texture and to blend out that harsh line of pigment from the Magicals. That's not that harsh, but I just wanted to blend it out a little bit with the splattering. So that's what I'm trying to achieve here. So I'm just splattering away on that little edge, and I just love the texture and the interest that the splatter adds. And this is a really simple layout. It didn't take me long to do, but I feel like it's really effective, really clean and simple mixed media. And you could definitely put multiple photos on this project. You could definitely add 2 or 3 photos horizontally. Where I'm just adding one, you could definitely go ahead and add a couple more photos for sure if you like to add more than one photo. I know that's one comment that I've had or I've heard people make about layouts that only have one photo when they like to add more than one. And I kind of like to usually make a suggestion or two about that when I'm working here. So this is my photo. It's 3.25 by 2.25. My sweet little grandson. He's 7 months old in this photo. This was taken just a couple weeks ago, and it's so sweet. And I wanted to print it in black and white, and I'm going to back the photo with a little bit of pattern paper from the 8x8 paper pad. This collection, the Inner Piece collection, has so many pieces to it. There's stamps, there's dies, there's 8x8 paper pads, there's a punch out pad, there's cut apart papers, there's tons of pieces. And the pieces, the embellishments that I'm using here are actually all from a cut apart sheet, a fussy cutting sheet, which I love because from one 12 by 12 paper, which is $2 or something like that, you get a ton of ephemera just for your time that it takes to fussy cut those out. So I love them. I love that there's no white edge on the edge of the ephemera pieces. And I am more than happy to fussy cut those out for my project. Now here I'm just working on some layers behind my photo. You can see that I'm adding a bit of dimension with my foam tape, my foam adhesive here, my foam dots, and just kind of trying to create some layers on that photo mat. And I really wanted to put that postcard piece horizontally behind the photo because I'm going to add a horizontal piece of ephemera to add the title over to the right side of the photograph. So here I'm just grabbing different little bits. If I'm talking with my hands, it's because I did create this video as well for Patreon. Over on Patreon, they got the unedited full-length video. And I'm just talking through the process over there when I upload these videos for Patreon. So you can see me talking with my hands definitely. But I'm just looking through all of the different little pieces that I have fussy cut out that I might want to use. And I didn't want too much. I definitely wanted that butterfly like that. And I really wanted to use this clock, which I think is really cool. The collection definitely has a little bit of a vintage feel to it as well, which is fun. And I like that look. I love working with vintage collections and papers and so on, and the ephemera that goes along with that. And I really just love this vintage looking clock. Now at this point I realized I hadn't glued down my photo. I was going to use this glue, but I would have to have unclogged it with my pin, and I was too lazy to do that. So I just I have probably 4 or 5 containers of glue on my desk at any point in time. And so I just grabbed a little bit of adhesive and added that behind. Before I really pressed that down, I wanted to make sure it was straight with my T-square ruler. So I'm just going to take a couple of paperweights that I have sitting on my desk for this purpose, and I'm just going to leave those on there for a few seconds to make sure that that photo mat layer section is all nicely adhered down to my project. You can't really see on the video the impact of that texture paste in the background. It's unfortunate that you can't see that, but it really is lovely. It looks really nice. Just adds just that really nice white texture to the background. So I like that a lot. And here I'm just fiddling around, trying to figure out what I want to add here. I definitely want these 2 foliage pieces, and I'm definitely going to be using those. And I'm just checking out, I cut a navy flower in half, and I've added 1/2 of it to the right side of the photo. And I'm going to adhere that down. I'll put a little bit of foam adhesive underneath that. And I'm just going to start, you know, adhering things down and committing to all the things I've added. I definitely want to add a little bit of foam adhesive to some of these foliage areas as well to add some dimension there. And the butterflies are added with foam adhesive also. And yeah, I'm just working away and trying to figure out what else I want to add. But you don't really need a lot. You know, with a project like this, the focal point is the photo always. And I just wanted a tiny little bit of embellishment to add some detail. And I just didn't really feel like I needed that much to really, you know, create the detail that I want on this page. So pretty happy with how it's looking so far. I was thinking about maybe putting this ticket in this spot, but I end up moving it up and just kind of in between those two elements there. And I like how that looks. I'm going to add that with a little bit of foam adhesive. And now I'm just kind of looking at it, making sure I like the balance of everything and making sure I have everything glued down. Just going to trim off a little piece of that foliage that was sticking out where I didn't want it. And I think it's looking pretty good so far. You can see that I've sized the paper down. It's sized down to 11.5 by 11.5. And I'm going to use a piece of cardstock that's kind of that mulberry paper from my stash behind the white cardstock as a nice frame around the layout. Now I am going to use this ruler as a horizontal line coming out to the right there. And that's going to be the home for the alphas that are going to be the title for the project. And I am going to use the alphas from the print shop collection. If you have not seen those yet or you have not purchased them, they are fantastic. I think they might be my favorite thickers that Vicki has ever put into a collection. I love them so much. They're just perfect. So I spelled out the word Bubs because on occasion we do use that as a little nickname for my grandson. And I am going to use some Dina Wakley gloss spray, which I have poured out onto my mat. I just find that that's an easier way to sort of get the right application that I like for this splatter. And I love using white splatter. I love the detail and interest that it adds to a layout. I love that it just kind of brings everything together at the end. And I just really enjoy how it looks. And of course, you know that I love if you followed me for a while in scrapbooking or even in card making, really, I enjoy some white space. I really do. Especially for this type of a layout where we have this sort of like a circular design, I really love that white space around the detail. I have watered down my Gonzai Tombi yellow gold paint, and I'm just going to splatter with that. I just thought it looked the gold would look really pretty on this plum color and the navies, and I was not wrong. I really like how it looks, and I'm going to give that a few seconds to dry when I'm finished, and that's basically going to finish up the layout. I really like how this one turned out. I hope you guys did too. Make sure that you leave me a comment. I'd love to hear what you think, and I hope to be back here on YouTube more often, but I can't really promise. I have been really busy with a lot of work that I'm doing for other companies, Crafters Companion, and some of the other companies that I'm working for now. And so I do try to get onto YouTube as often as I can. But definitely, if you want to find me, the best way is to check out Patreon. But I do promise to try to be back here more often with more scrapbooking. I do miss being on YouTube with the scrapbooking layouts for sure. And I am going to just now layer this page onto my cardstock. And I love how this turned out. There's lots of room for journaling underneath the title there over to the right. And this is soon going to go into this Sweet Little Lads album. I love the colors. I love all the texture. I really like how this turned out. I hope you did too. And I look forward to seeing you again here for more scrapbooking in the future. Please make sure if you have not subscribed that you do so and hit that like button. It helps me out a lot. And take care. Stay well. And I will see you again, friends. Bye-bye.